Hello, welcome to the behind the scenes video for the Nine Inch Nails cover.
Isn't quite as it seems.
I'm going to go over the chords of the song, the bass, the keys, the vocals, and the soundscape, which is the strange sounds you hear in the background. So let's jump right on it. When it comes to the actual chords of the song, well, all I did was just go to Ultimate Guitar, look for the chords, and as you can see here, the chords are all major chords. So it's very strange because this is a very sad song, and I was expecting to find minor chords in there, but it's all major chords. If you were to play these chords, then you'd get something that sounds very happy. Very happy sounding. But what's actually happening is that the rhythm section isn't really touching the major third. So it becomes almost like ambiguous chords, more like power chords in a guitar. So that's really what's happening there. So yeah, it turns out you can actually make a very sad song using just major chords. Key thing really was to emulate that sort of glide effect that you can hear in the original track. So all you really have to do is just go to any plugin. In this case, I'm using Massive. If you type in glide, or if you look for the glide presets, you can usually find a bunch of them. In this case, I'm using the Babylon preset. And if you hear it without EQing and you turn up the glide effect, you can really understand what's happening. So as you can see, that kind of glide effect is approaching what I want. So what I did was just tone it down a little bit halfway through, so it becomes a bit more subtle. That makes a bit more sense. All I did was just EQ it. So without the EQ, it would sound like this. All over the place. With the EQ, which is really closer to what I want. And yeah, that's it. Just keep it simple. EQ, and that's it. In terms of the keys, it was very simple really. All that's happening there, it's a very simple melody. In this case, I'm using Addictive Keys. Recommend it. It's cheap and it does the job. So it's the Studio Grand with the Intimate preset. Now, the only thing I did to it was actually EQ it again, because both the keys and the vocals are going to be in the same frequency. So in order to distinguish them in the mix, I had to just EQ it so that I would highlight the lows a little bit more on the keys, which you can see here. And then for the vocals, I would just cut those frequencies out, which leads us to the vocals. Now, for the vocals, there is a sort of like process that I always do. I record the same sample a couple of times, then I pick the sample that sounds best. So then I do pitch correction. I use Waves Tune, just gets the job done for about 50 quid or something. Now, to get the sound that you hear from the track, you can hear it almost like it's coming out of a speaker box. To do that, all you have to do really is just EQ it the right way.
See the safety of the light.
Much better. Of course, I've got some reverb in here.
See the safety of the light.
Much better. So again, without any plugins, straight from the mic.
See the safety of the light.
If we just EQ it to make sure that we get only the frequencies that we really need, add a bit of reverb and pitch correction.
See the safety of the light.
Sounds a lot better. And of course I'm using a compressor, I'm using a vocal rider just to keep the volume levels steady, but you don't really need to do that much to get the sound to where it needs to be. So now let's see how everything sounds together.
See the safety of the life you have built.
Very simple tune really. The last thing that's worth mentioning is that soundscape that you hear at the beginning. All I did was just find a preset that I found interesting. So this is the soundscape without any EQing. Quite intense all over the place, but then as always, we have to EQ it to extract the sound that we need. So EQ it, cutting all the highs. better. A bit of automation there, as you can see. Simple. There are many plugins out there with Soundscape, so you have to just pick one and then EQ it until you find the sound you need. And that's pretty much all there is to talk about this track, really. So this is the bass. We got the keys on top. Well, now we add the vocals on top.
See the animal in his cage that you've built.
As you can see, it's mostly just EQing 3 instruments, EQing, and then I add that soundscape on top at the very end. Yeah, so please let us know, guys, if you want us to dive deeper into a specific song or style. We're always happy to just make music and bring the music to you guys. So yeah, be sure to check out the cover if you haven't already. Yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.